Scott Frost. Now, I have not heard your take on this. All right. I'm sure you've shared it at some point, but this is an individual. Everybody's probably heard the quote by now when he was asked, what he learned from his time at Nebraska. Don't take the wrong job, essentially. Okay. Is what he said. Here's the quote if you haven't heard it. Been living under a rock somehow, but here it is. And I quote, "Don't take the wrong job. I said I wouldn't leave UCF unless it was something you could win a national championship or some place you could win a national championship. I got tugged in a direction to help my alma mater and didn't really want to do it. It wasn't a good move. I'm lucky to get back to a place where I was a lot happier," end quote. It was interesting when I heard that. My initial thought was, I'm just going to be honest, I was 0% surprised. It's not the first time he's taken shots at Nebraska, or whether you like or don't like Trev Alberts. I mean, he didn't specifically say him in the past, but he's made it very clear he does not have warm feelings about his time here, what happened here, people here, et cetera, et cetera. So I was 0% surprised. If you watched his press conferences, you could kind of get this vibe. Obviously, I chatted with him a few times, and I shared this. It was either a year or two ago. I only shared it one time on this show, but I shared it, so it's not the first time I've shared it. After his first spring game, so he hadn't coached an actual game yet here at Nebraska. We're in the weight room afterwards, and we're talking, and I can see he's very flustered. I can just see it. And I guess there was recruits upstairs. Like, I got to get upstairs to get there. I'm just trying to keep my head above water. And he goes, when I was at UCF, I could just do whatever the hell I wanted. And he turned around and burst out. And I was like, that line, when I was at UCF, I could do whatever the hell I wanted. And then just left. I was like, that kind of hit me. But, we all have days where we're overwhelmed, where we're flustered. It's his first spring game. I'm sure he's got some... he's anxious. He's probably got some big-time recruits upstairs. Unfortunately, we would learn later on that actually talking to 4- and 5-star recruits wasn't as important to him as it should have been. Unfortunately, we would find out later. I just remember thinking, wow, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because everyone has those days, whatever the case may be. But that line, I could do whatever the hell I wanted to at UCF, has always stuck with me. It was just kind of like, and I didn't know what was to come. I didn't know what was to happen, but I was just kind of like, does he not want to be here? No way. No way he doesn't want to be here. You wouldn't move your family halfway across the country. You wouldn't move from Orlando to Lincoln if you didn't want to be here. But here we are all these years later. Turns out he felt obligated or whatever the case may be. I will say this. I don't recall ever hearing him decline a check. I don't recall a check like he got paid. $35+ million. Even it was at the end of his first or second year, he got like a pay raise or an extension from Moose or whatever. So I don't recall ever hearing those things not go through and those things not work on his behalf. So for me, you don't have to go someplace if you don't want to. You don't have to cash a check if you don't want to. But beyond that, his time at here did not go the way anybody wanted it to. Frankly, not many people saw it going the way that it did. 16-31 overall, 10-22 in the Big Ten. Obviously, a lot of one-score losses. I think what sticks with me the most now, aside from the wins and losses being so lopsided in the L department versus the W department, obviously that's incredibly disappointing for everyone involved. Nobody wanted that. The refusal to look in the mirror, the refusal to accept responsibility, the refusal to just say, maybe I could have done some things differently. Maybe I could learn from this. Maybe I could be better in the future going forward. The finger pointing at everything and everyone else is just like, oh my God. Like, I feel like I'm dealing with one of my kids who's like, no, I didn't do it. They did it. They did it. They did it. They did it. This literally just happened. Something was taken out of one of my daughter's rooms the other day. Nobody did it. It's amazing how nobody did it. All of a sudden, we take electronics away. Everybody's grounded until somebody admits it. 5 minutes later, the culprit came forward. I can't take anything away from Scott Frost, nor would I want to, but my point is the refusal to just accept responsibility as the head coach when he had everything at his disposal. Greg Austin looked at me at one point, and again, this was before he'd ever coached a game, and he said, Bill Moose has given Scott everything he's asked for. Everything he's asked for, Bill has given to him. Now, I don't know what all he asked for. I didn't ask for details or specific requests, but Bill gave it to him. And then things go the way they go. And continuing to just take shots back at Nebraska. And this is the state that I love. And when I think about the state of Nebraska, there's more to the state than the university. But when you think about what people think of Nebraska, they think of the university. So when you take shots at the university, at the football program, you're taking shots. To me, it comes across like you're taking shots at the entire state. That's how I feel. That's how it comes across to me. And it's a state that I love. And I think that bothers me on another level as well. There's this other thing where just let it go. Now, in his defense, he was asked, what'd you learn from your time in Nebraska? So Nebraska was brought up to him. In his defense, he didn't bring Nebraska up out of nowhere. It was brought up to him. But there's this thing where you say, it didn't go the way we wanted. I'm now focused on what I'm doing at UCF. If you don't want to accept responsibility, I'm focused on UCF. And just leave it at that. He's even said in previous interviews, I don't want to talk about Nebraska. Then he talks about Nebraska. Or you can just simply say, I'm focused on UCF. I wish them nothing but the best there in Lincoln. That's my alma mater. Okay. But I'm focused on coaching at UCF. If you don't want to address it at all, don't want to accept responsibility, that's one option. Option A. Option B, it didn't go the way I wanted. I learned a few things. Hopefully I'm a better coach going forward for it. And you move on. And you decline to answer any more questions. But it's a meat grinder. I didn't want to be there. It's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. They did it. It wasn't me, et cetera, et cetera. Like, at some point, just like let it go, because it's interesting. I know there's people in the state of Nebraska, and I don't fault people either way, to be clear with you, who have not been a fan of Frost since he was let go. And some of the things that have been said before Big 12 Media Days. And there were some people who would give him the benefit of the doubt. I get both ways. As an overall whole, I felt like Nebraskans had actually been really gracious towards Frost. Being a former quarterback, winning a national championship in 97 with his team. I was like, that's cool. You know, you give your own a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. And I'm cool with that. I don't feel like it's been reciprocated at all, because had that happened, like let's say you're a University of Texas alum and you go back and you coach there and it doesn't go well at all, and then you're bashing the school consistently afterwards, I have a feeling Texas fans would be firing back at them with a lot more vigor than Nebraska fans have. Do you feel like that's a fair statement? Because I feel like as a whole, Nebraska fans have given him the benefit of the doubt quite a bit up until Big 12 Media Days. Is that a fair statement or not?
I mean, I think so. I think altogether, there's pockets of them that don't, as in any fan base. So I don't know, but in general, I don't. I think he's generally welcome back, right, and all that sort of stuff. But after this, I mean, again, for all the reasons you're kind of throwing out there, I find it. Even myself, I was planning on cheering for him at UCF, hoping things go well. And the more that he continues to go back and talk about Nebraska and make excuses, just like, dude, you're making it hard to cheer for you over here.
And it was just earlier this summer, something was said, and was it Frost? I don't even remember what it was now. He said something, and some media around here talked about it. And then there was a gigantic debate of, why do we talk about Scott Frost? Everybody just wants clicks. That's why they bring up Frost. I understand what people are saying. And I kind of view those as a little bit more along the lines of the Frost defenders, because and that's okay. My response has always been, he won a national title. Let's be honest, on the field, Husker legend, former Nebraska football coach. Like, if Bo Pelini does something, it's newsworthy. If Tommy Frazier does something, it's newsworthy. Hopefully it's positive stuff. But my point is, if Scott Frost does something, it's newsworthy. This is a guy that grew up Wood River, played high school ball here. Like, I've never understood, let's just completely ignore the guy. You shouldn't talk about him at all. I've never understood that. Like, he is newsworthy, which, by the way, it's a compliment to be newsworthy. Now, what the news is, maybe one way or the other. But I've never quite understood that. I will say this, when people say, oh, they just want clicks, it's interesting because you and I don't sit here with microphones and a camera and everything else hoping that you and I are the only ones that listen to the show. I hope there's people out there listening. But to say you do it for clicks means you're being disingenuous and you're only doing something and you're only stating something a certain way because you're trying to get attention rather than this or is not newsworthy. I can honestly say, like, as far as doing something for clicks, not interested. I don't want to say I don't need it because I hope people are interested in the show, but I'm interested in talking about things that are newsworthy. And to me, Scott Frost has been newsworthy. It's kind of gotten to a point to me now where I may just let it lie since he won't. Like, I might just let it lie. But up until this point, I found him newsworthy. But I can honestly say you and I have never done anything or phrased anything or put something a certain way just to get attention because if you watch my show, every day I walk in here with so much stuff to talk about. It's just not necessary and it's also not who we are. But up until this point, Scott Frost has been newsworthy. Honestly, going forward, he's still newsworthy. You and I will just have to chat about how much of that news pertaining to Scott Frost we actually just genuinely want to talk about at a certain point.